Hello and welcome to my channel. So in this video, I'm going to be discussing two kind of important things that took place over social media on the weekend. The first is that your girl is back to posting on TikTok. Yeah. I refrained for a long time because me and the TikTok algorithm are enemies. We are established enemies. But, and I'm going to expand on this more in another YouTube video, the month of July was just a very hard month in general, and it humbled me to the point where I was like, honestly, what have you got to lose? And if you post over there and nobody watches, which is a very possible thing, it's still a creative playground. It's still, a fun place to participate in things that make you happy. Speaking of that, I also didn't want to post over there because I didn't want to do what I've done over here for the last year or so. Didn't want to dial in on any really specific and important issues. I'm not going to be the one stitching things and saying, and another thing, and this is why we talk about this. I'm over there for the giggles and the fun and the vlogs and the sillies. That's my vibe on TikTok. And so I am posting again, and it's been really fun. I've only posted 5. Anything I do, I kind of overdo. So I think maybe I've posted 6 or 7, but no, 5, 4, 3 or 4. But they've gotten minimal views, and it's mostly I'm just there to have fun. The reason why that is important is because on Sunday I posted this TikTok.
My Birkin. Another Birkin. But what makes these two Birkins different? And what small feature about them divides the Hermes collector community? Let's talk about it.
And I posted it because there was a conversation happening on Twitter about the careers between Zendaya and Keke Palmer. The conversation was happening because Keke Palmer is in the movie Nope. It's the latest Jordan Peele, mind-twisting extravaganza. I've heard good and bad reviews on it. I'll have to see it myself. But mostly I just want to say that her performance is being lauded. She's being called, a terrific actress. She's being, there's Oscar buzz around her performance. And people are really just she should be further along than she is now. She should be a household name. She should be a person who can just do no wrong in Hollywood. And the reason why she's not at that level compared to somebody like Zendaya is because of colorism. Now, we know colorism is the perceived sociological advantage. Well, not perceived, the proven sociological advantage, societal advantage, that people of a lighter skin hue have, specifically when you talk about the experience that Black women have in society when they are lighter skinned versus darker skinned. It has been proven that being a lighter skinned individual could, not does, it could. A lot of people hear colorism talk and they're like, my life hasn't been like that and I'm light skinned. It's a possibility. It's a high one, but it doesn't mean it affects everybody. Anyway, so being lighter skinned for Black women can change your marriage possibilities, employment possibilities. And if you happen to want a creative career in Hollywood as a model or an actress, it can change how you are employed and how often you're allowed to be on screen. Every time a Black actress is talked about and her career is talked about, we do have a habit as a community of bringing up Zendaya. Zendaya herself has responded to this numerous times, and she said, hey, I know I have this advantage and I want to use my advantage to give darker skinned peoples in Hollywood, specifically Black women, more opportunities to shine. And when I hear her say things like that, I'm like, but sis, you're not Issa Rae. You're not writing your own projects and actually casting people. So what are we talking about? But maybe that just hasn't happened yet, and that's in her future. The reason why I think people compare Keke and Zendaya is because they started off so similarly. Both child actors, both Disney Channel. There is an interview going around with Keke that was posted this past weekend that is so cute. And she talks about how she was on Disney Channel and Nickelodeon. And both, have shown incredible range. Both are Virgos. Both are known for they've been around for a while. But arguably, Zendaya is the bigger name. And people were referring to her as the more household name. And my question then is, what household are you talking about? Let's be specific. And honestly, the truth is that Zendaya is more marketable and more of a household name in not just Black households, but white households as well, and all other color households. She has a further reach, and a lot of people say that is because of colorism. So when I posted that TikTok, I definitely wanted to, number one, test the algorithm. I was like, how would it work? And I know I just said that I don't plan on doing over there what I do over here as far as like dialing in on different issues that people are talking about, different social issues, blah, blah, blah. But I did just want to test it out. I thought when I was looking at the conversation that was happening online, that audio came into my mind. And if you're on TikTok, you know that that's Charles Gross, and he used to be on YouTube, and he used to be gross here on YouTube. He used to make a lot of really nasty videos, and then he decided to rebrand himself as like this eat, pray, love makeup and fashion person. And now he has a thriving career over on TikTok. And he was comparing his 2 Birkin bags in this video, and the audio went viral because people were comparing just various things. And so I decided to use it for that. And I wanted to see, you know, number one, do I still understand barely the algorithm on TikTok like I used to? And number two, is anybody going to engage in a conversation about this over here? Would anybody be interested in talking about it? I did not share the video though, because I think that the reason they have different careers is because of colorism. Let me explain. Keke Palmer, when she was recounting her own like road to fame in the video that was posted in the interview that she did this past week, she's an incredibly blessed individual, just like Zendaya. I would say even more so because Keke was coming from Chicago, a small neighborhood, a small suburban neighborhood outside of, in the suburbs of Chicago. And she was, I mean, she didn't have other people in her family that really acted. They weren't close to Hollywood at all. Her mom heard about an audition, and her mom was like, I'm bringing my daughter down there. You're going to see her. Even though, you know, the people were like, no, she doesn't have any experience. Her mom was like, I don't care. She's the right one. She's the one you need to see. So first of all, having a supportive parent that believes in you and wants you to do these things. I don't know how many people, myself included, wanted to be actors and singers and whatever as kids, and our parents were like, no. So definitely I look at Keke's story and I'm like, there's a lot of people out there that had to defy their parents, had to defy like what people were telling them. I have friends who went to Hollywood and were successful and still get lip from their parents who don't understand. So to have a parent who understands and who's like, my daughter needs to be there, that's a blessing. Then when she tried out in front of all these other kids with no experience, they're like, we want your kid, blessing. Then she's in her first movie is Barbershop 2, which we all know. Like her first movie wasn't something random. You know, I was expecting her in the interview. She's like, my first movie was Barbershop 2. And I was expecting her to say something random like Children of the Corn 17 or something. But Barbershop 2 was a major motion picture. And that was her very first movie. And then from there, she came out to Hollywood and a guy was like, I'm going to get you a development deal at a major network. She came out to Hollywood already locked in. And in the interview, she's like, so that's kind of strange. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. That is wild. So many people go out there and, you know, most of their life is, I got to climb this ladder. I got to try and figure out how to get in those rooms. She already came out there and there was somebody that was like, I got you. I got you in all the rooms. I'm doing a show. You're the kid. So she's definitely been blessed. If you haven't seen that interview, you got to listen to it. To me, when I was listening to it, I was like, she's a great example of like fate and destiny. Like we definitely all have desires, but sometimes life just makes a way for certain people and you can't deny that. And then if you talk about Zendaya, I mean, you know, same thing, just started off really young, incredibly talented. I remember when she was on Dancing with the Stars and I was so mad when she lost. Oh my God. And I still go back and watch her final performance from time to time. She just made me cry. Like as a person who, you know, did performances as a coach, I was obsessed with the self-possessiveness that this young child had. Like, I mean, yeah, she was 16, but she was so good. So from there to doing music, to like keeping her TV career going on the Disney Channel, to moving on to major films, Zendaya has definitely had a very blessed track record as well. But the difference at the end of the day is that when people think about Zendaya, they think about an actress. And when they think about Keke, they think about a Black actress. And I think those two things are very, very different. And I have to go back to what they were saying about households. When they said Keke should be a household name, immediately I was like, she's not a household name. Everybody in my household knew who she is. We all know who she is. Well, we're all Black people and we tend to know our people. You have people who are famous in Black Hollywood who everybody else in other parts of the world, they have no idea who these people are. And there was a story about Cheryl Lee Ralph and how she stepped onto I think it was the Abbott Elementary set. And this guy, this PA, had no idea who she was. Dreamgirl Sheryl Lee Ralph, Moesha Sheryl Lee Ralph. Like, he had no idea who this was because she is a Black community actress. She's a Black actress and she's popular in the Black community. And so I think that's what they're saying with Keke and Zendaya. Is it colorism? The reason why Keke, with all of her credits and, you know, her Disney Channel cred, her Nickelodeon cred, her major, you know, she hosted talk shows, she's been in major motion pictures. Why is she not also considered the way that Zendaya is considered? And like I said before, I do think, you know, obviously colorism has something to do with it. You're not going to see Keke cast as like the major love interest for a Tom Holland character without people flipping out. Sorry. But I also think it is the way that the two people represent themselves. Keke represents herself as a Black woman. She leans heavily on AAVE whenever she speaks. Heavily. Even though we know, we've seen her do various interviews, this and that. We've seen her do various roles. We know she doesn't always speak that way. We know she can code switch. But when she's speaking as Keke and she's doing a lot of her like interviews and she's like on talk shows and so on and so forth, she's leaning heavy on that AAVE. I've never heard Zendaya use AAVE in an interview, and I never hear her use it in an interview. If she uses it, it's like, you know, she's just sprinkled in to conversation. Also, the way that they represent themselves when they are on screen and the types of projects that they choose. Keke did, you know, Barbershop 2. Then she did Akeelah and the Bee, yes. But then she was also in Tyler Perry movies. I can't imagine Zendaya in a Tyler Perry movie. That's not her. And the thing is like Tyler Perry does cast light-skinned actresses. And they're usually, well, let's not get into Tyler Perry right now because it's a whole thing. But, you know, so not saying that she couldn't fit in his universe. She just doesn't. That's not something that she's ever done. Zendaya always presents herself as just an actress. And any show that she's in, her Blackness is never solely focused on for her character. That was some of the criticism that Euphoria got, was that we never talked about Rue's identity as like a Black woman, really. We never talked about her, you know, we don't really talk about the people in her family. We know she has a Black mom, but that's about it. Because Hollywood doesn't think of Zendaya as a Black actress. She's an actress who happens to have Black identity, but she's not a Black actress. And you can even tell from the way that she like wears her hair in movies, from like the things that she says. She really presents more as like your girl next door. And I think that that is an aesthetics choice from her. That's a language choice from her. And it also is representative of her background. She does have a white mother, so she has been socialized in different ways. She's got different family members, so on and so forth. What I'm trying to say here is that it's not just colorism for me. It's also just their very identity as women. Black actresses in general, if they represent as Black actresses in the way that they speak and the roles that they're willing to take, in the things that they say when they're speaking candidly, I think that they're going to fit more in the mold of Black Hollywood. Like even Taraji P. Henson, a huge actress, I wouldn't say she's necessarily a household name, because she definitely presents herself as a Black woman. And I think Hollywood is still very divided. You can be a Black actress, you can be a Latina actress, you can be an Asian actress, you can be this and that, but there are very few people who are of color who cross over into just being seen as an actor or actress. For men, I would definitely say it is different. Like, you know, you have Denzel, you have Will Smith, you have Donald Glover, but for women, I think it's much harder to be seen as just an actress. And as a result, a lot of times your career can seem a little stunted, even as Keke pointed out when she responded to these allegations. Hers isn't. She's been incredibly blessed. She has a wonderful career. And the fact that people feel that she's not a household name, it's not really her problem. I want to also talk a little bit more about her response to the whole issue. So she said, I believe she said, responding to this or even thinking about me this way is colorism in and of itself. And I don't think that it's colorism responding to this in and of itself, but I do think that it's a little bit of a trauma response from a group of people who have to be hyper vigilant and constantly ask questions about the ones that represent us. We have to constantly be weighing and looking at, okay, should this person have more? Is this enough? Is this a situation? Is this that? I think we're so used to horror stories. We're so used to people not being allowed to soar and to rise because of the color of their skin that we immediately start to ask why? Why is that? What's going on? And so, yes, colorism is something we go to, but I think the desire to try and understand what it is more because we've been traumatized as a people by the lack of opportunity and the lack of development of very, very talented actresses in Hollywood. So I agree with Keke's response, but I think I would have just put it a little bit differently because I don't think it's just colorism. I think people are really, they're so traumatized by the way Hollywood has done Black actresses that when we think someone deserves more, well, we're going to say it. At the end of the day, though, there's no denying that both women, are extremely talented, extremely gifted, and we're extremely fated for this situation. And I hope that one day there can be a world where an actress who presents as a Black actress in the way she speaks and the way she wears her hair and the projects that she chooses, I hope that there's a world where that actress can also take home an Emmy. I would love to see Issa Rae win one because I think she definitely is a Black actress. I would love to see Quentin Bronson win one. That is a Black actress. There's no denying that in the way that they present themselves and the kind of roles that they play and the material that they use. There is no denying it. And so I think that when we start to see more just Black actresses recognized in general, the colorism conversation, though it is important and though it is definitely a reason why some people are more marketable to audiences than others, I think that the conversation will become a little bit less of sort of a death sentence on somebody's career. And we'll start to really ask ourselves, well, if somebody hasn't moved as far as someone else, maybe it's talent, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. There definitely is enough possibility for anyone to be successful, no matter what the color or the hue of their skin might be. And to wrap this all up, I do want to say, if you want to follow me over on TikTok for the giggles and the sillies, you're more than welcome to do so. Thanks for watching.